Her birthday was supposed to be a happy day. She had planned a big family dinner, thinking everyone would come together to celebrate. She wore her favorite dress, put on a little makeup, and waited for her husband to arrive. He was running late, but she stayed calm. Maybe traffic was bad. Maybe he was bringing flowers. That's what she hoped. But when he finally walked in, everything changed. He wasn't alone. A young woman followed him, holding his hand. She was clearly pregnant. Her belly showed it, and so did the way she smiled at him like they shared a secret. He looked proud, not ashamed. Then he spoke loudly so everyone could hear. "This is Amber," he said. "She's my future. We're in love." The room went quiet. Her family and his family all stared. Nobody moved. No one spoke. She felt her heart beating fast, but she didn't let it show. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She smiled, calm and steady. "Well," she said, "I brought something too." Everyone turned to look at her. She reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. It was thick and sealed. She held it out to her husband. "You might want to open this." He looked confused. Slowly, he took the envelope and opened it. Inside were the DNA results. The truth was written in black and white. The baby wasn't his. He blinked. His face turned pale. His hands shook a little. Amber stepped back, not understanding yet. But then she saw the paper. She grabbed it from him, read it, and gasped. She turned to her. You talked to Tyler?" She nodded. "Yes, and Tyler wanted to know too." The room exploded. Gasps, shouting, chairs pushing back. Amber covered her mouth and ran out. Her husband followed, yelling her name. But no one chased after them. The truth was out. Her family surrounded her. They asked questions, tried to comfort her, but she just stood there, calm. The storm had passed. She didn't want revenge. She just wanted the truth to be known. He brought his pregnant girlfriend to a birthday dinner to humiliate her. He wanted control, but she took it back, with facts, not anger, with proof, not pain. She had known for weeks. She saw the signs, the lies, the late nights, the fake smiles. She didn't beg. She didn't fight. She planned. Now, everyone knew, and he was gone. She stood taller than ever, proud and strong. She didn't need to say much. The DNA test said it all. She used to believe her marriage was strong. She thought her husband, Matt, loved her and would never hurt her. But looking back, there were signs she didn't see, or maybe she just didn't want to see them. He started acting strange. He kept his phone close all the time, even in the bathroom. He would turn the screen away when she walked by. He said he was working late more often, but he came home tired and distant. He stopped holding her like he used to. The small touches, the soft kisses, they slowly disappeared. She tried to ask what was wrong, but he always said he was just stressed. Her friends noticed the change. They told her something didn't feel right, but she defended him. She said he was busy with work, that he was just tired, and that they were fine. She didn't want to believe anything else. Then he started being too nice. He brought flowers home without a reason. He took her out to dinner, but didn't talk much. He said he was trying to make her happy, but something felt off. It didn't feel like love. It felt like guilt. That's when she first heard the name Amber. He mentioned her once, saying she was a new co-worker who just moved to the city. He said she didn't know many people and asked if it was okay to help her settle in. She didn't think much of it at the time. She trusted him, but then she found something she couldn't ignore. One night, while cleaning the laundry, she found a receipt in his pants pocket. It was from a fancy restaurant they'd never been to together. There were 2 meals, wine, and a dessert for 2. The date matched one of the nights he said he was working late. She felt her stomach drop. That receipt was the moment everything changed. She didn't ask him about it. She didn't show him. She just started paying closer attention. She began watching his actions more carefully. She checked the bank statements. She noticed money missing. Her heart broke a little more each day, but she stayed quiet. She knew she needed more than a receipt. She needed proof, and she was going to get it. She stopped hoping he would fix things. She started preparing for the truth, even if it hurt. He thought she was clueless, but she was watching, listening, and waiting. He had no idea what was coming. She was cleaning the living room when Matt's phone buzzed on the table. He was in the shower, so she picked it up without thinking. What she saw stopped her breath. There were messages from Amber, not just friendly messages. These were flirty, romantic, and very clear. They talked about things they had done together, about the baby, and about a future without her. Some of the words made her feel sick. Her hands shook, but she kept reading. The worst part wasn't just the words. It was how happy he sounded with Amber, like she didn't exist anymore. When Matt came out of the shower, she showed him the phone. At first he laughed and said she misunderstood. Then he said it was just a joke. When she didn't believe him, his mood changed. He told her she was being paranoid. He said she always thought the worst. He made it sound like it was her fault. He said she was cold and he felt lonely. He said she pushed him away and made him feel unwanted. His words hurt more than the texts. She wanted to scream, to cry, to ask why, but she stayed quiet. Instead of fighting, she handed back the phone and walked away. She didn't say another word. Something inside her changed. She knew he wouldn't tell the truth. He would only twist things to protect himself. She decided not to argue anymore. She wasn't going to beg for answers. From that moment on, she started thinking clearly. She knew she needed real proof, not just texts. Something that no one could deny. She stopped talking about her feelings. She stopped asking where he was going or when he would be home. She acted normal, but inside she was preparing. She watched and waited. Every small lie, every strange excuse. She wrote it down in her mind. Matt thought he had fooled her. He thought she would stay quiet forever, but she wasn't going to stay in the dark. She knew there was more to the story, and she was going to find it. The betrayal hurt, but it also opened her eyes. She no longer hoped he would come back to her. She wanted the truth, and now she was ready to find it. She acted like nothing was wrong. She smiled when Matt came home. She asked how his day was. She made dinner and kept the house clean. On the outside, she looked like the same loving wife, but inside, she was working on a plan. She wanted to know more about Amber. Who was this woman who thought it was okay to be with a married man? She started looking her up online. It didn't take long to find her on social media. Amber was younger, probably in her early 20s. She didn't seem to have a job. Most of her pictures showed shopping bags, new clothes, and fancy meals. But there was one thing missing. She never tagged where the money was coming from. Then she saw something strange. Amber had just moved into a new apartment. The pictures showed it was a nice place. Too nice for someone with no job. That made her curious. So she checked the bank account Matt thought she didn't know about. And there it was. Monthly rent payments going to an address she recognized from Amber's posts. Matt was paying for Amber's apartment. He was giving her money. She had no idea how long this had been going on. But now she knew for sure that this wasn't just a short affair. He was building a whole second life. The next shock came a week later. She found out Amber was pregnant. She saw a comment under one of Amber's photos. Someone congratulating her on the baby. Amber replied with heart emojis. That was it. No names, no details. Just enough to confirm what she feared. Still, something didn't feel right. The timing, the way Matt acted, something was off. She went back to Amber's profile and looked through her older photos. That's when she noticed a guy who showed up a lot a few months before, in group photos, in selfies. He looked close to Amber. She checked his name and found him on Facebook. His name was Tyler. She sent him a message, just asking if he and Amber were still together. He replied quickly, saying they had broken up not long before she started seeing Matt. When she asked more questions, he admitted he wasn't sure if the baby was his. That's when everything made sense. She realized this might be even bigger than just cheating. What if Matt wasn't even the father? She stayed calm and friendly in her messages to Tyler. She told him she had a way to find out the truth, but they had to work together quietly. He agreed. From that moment, her plan had a purpose. It wasn't just about catching a cheater. It was about showing everyone the full truth. No more lies. No more secrets. She was ready to finish what she started. Tyler told her he wasn't sure if the baby was his. He and Amber had been together right before she started seeing Matt. The dates were close. That gave her an idea, a DNA test. It was the only way to know the truth. She met Tyler in secret. They sat in a quiet coffee shop, away from people they knew. She told him everything, how Matt cheated, how Amber was living in an apartment Matt paid for, and how she suspected the baby wasn't Matt. Tyler listened carefully. He looked shocked, but he agreed to help. They had to be careful. Matt couldn't know. Amber couldn't find out. They needed something with her DNA. One day, Amber came to visit Matt while she was pretending to be out shopping. She left a napkin on the kitchen counter after eating. It had lipstick on and some food crumbs. That was perfect. She placed the napkin in a plastic bag, sealed it, and hid it in her closet. Later, Tyler gave her a toothbrush he had used when he and Amber were still together. He hadn't thrown it away yet. She took both items, and sent them to a lab that did private DNA testing. It took a few days, but the wait felt longer. She didn't tell anyone what she was doing. She acted normal at home, smiled when Matt came in, and listened to him lie like always. Inside, she was nervous but ready. She just needed the truth in her hand. When the results came back, her heart raced. She opened the envelope slowly. The paper was clear and simple. A 99.9% match between Tyler and the baby. The child was his. She stared at the paper for a long time. All the pain, the confusion, the questions. Now she had the answer. Matt wasn't the father. He had ruined their marriage for a lie. Amber had played both men, and now the truth would come out. But she didn't react with anger. She didn't scream or throw things. She felt calm. She had what she needed, a fact that no one could argue. Not Matt, not Amber, not even their families. It was finally real. Now she had proof, not just of the affair, but that the baby Matt was so proud of wasn't even his. She kept the papers safe and started planning what to do next. The truth was in her hands, and she was going to use it when the time was right. She didn't tell Matt about the DNA test. Instead, she smiled and said she wanted to move forward. She told him maybe they both made mistakes and should start fresh. He looked surprised but happy. He believed her. That was part of her plan. She said they should have a big family dinner, a way to bring everyone together and show there was no hate. She told him it would be good for both families to meet, to talk, and to accept things. He agreed quickly. He didn't see the trap being set. She invited everyone, Matt's parents, her siblings, and even Amber. She told them it was a dinner to celebrate a new beginning. She wanted everyone in the same room for one reason, the truth. She decorated the house with lights and candles. She made a slideshow with pictures from the past, happy memories from trips, birthdays, and holidays. She wrapped small gifts for each guest, just to make it feel real. Everything looked perfect. Matt kept thanking her, saying she was strong and kind. She only smiled and nodded. Inside, she was calm and ready. The papers were in her bag. She waited for the right moment. Amber accepted the invite too. She came dressed nicely, showing off her baby bump. She acted like everything was normal, smiling at Matt and trying to impress the family. Matt looked proud. He stood beside her like nothing was wrong. Her family and his looked confused, but tried to stay polite. The room was quiet, and people whispered to each other. She acted happy, served food, and poured drinks. She gave no signs of what was coming. Everyone thought it was just a peaceful dinner, a new start, as she had said. But she knew this wasn't the beginning. It was the end. The truth was coming, and no one could stop it. She waited patiently. She let everyone settle in. She smiled through every fake word and every forced laugh. Then when the time was right, she stood up. It was time for the truth to speak. The house looked warm and welcoming. The table was full of food, candles were lit, and soft music played in the background. But behind the smiles and decorations, the air was heavy. The guests came in slowly, unsure of what to expect. Everyone greeted each other politely, but something felt off. Matt welcomed his parents with a wide smile. He acted like everything was perfect. He walked around proudly, holding Amber's hand. Amber wore a tight dress that showed off her baby bump. She smiled at everyone and rubbed her stomach often, making sure people noticed. Matt called her the future of the family and talked loudly about becoming a father soon. Her parents sat quietly. They looked around the room, clearly unsure why Amber was even there. Her siblings were confused too. They tried to smile, but their eyes showed worry. Matt's parents looked uncomfortable. They kept glancing between her and Amber, but said nothing. She walked around with a bottle of wine, pouring glasses for everyone. She spoke kindly and thanked everyone for coming. She handed out small gifts and told everyone they were special to her. She smiled at Amber and even complimented her dress. Amber smiled back, clearly feeling proud. Matt put his arm around Amber and gave a short speech about new beginnings and learning to forgive. She stood beside him, nodding like she agreed. But inside, she was counting every second. The moment was getting closer. She waited for everyone to finish eating. She made sure the mood was calm. She didn't want yelling, not yet. She wanted their full attention. Her voice stayed soft and gentle. She kept smiling. Then she tapped her glass with a spoon and stood up. Everyone turned to look at her. She said she wanted to make a short toast. People nodded. They thought it was just a sweet ending to the dinner. She looked around the room, her hands calm, her face kind. She thanked everyone again for coming. She said she was happy they could all be together. Matt smiled at her, proud of how well she was handling everything. Amber looked pleased. No one knew what was coming. The room was quiet. People held their glasses and waited for her words. It felt like a peaceful moment. But inside her bag was the truth, and she was ready to let it out. It was the calm before the storm, and the storm was coming fast. She stood up slowly and looked around the room. Everyone was watching her, waiting to hear what she had to say. She held a glass in one hand and an envelope in the other. Her voice was calm and steady. She smiled gently and said, "Before we welcome this new member to the family, I'd like to share something important." The room went quiet. All eyes were on her. Matt stopped smiling. Amber looked confused. She walked over to Matt and handed him the envelope. He took it, looking unsure. He opened it slowly and started reading. As his eyes moved down the page, his face changed. The color drained from his cheeks. His hands began to shake slightly. He looked up at her, but he had no words. The silence in the room was heavy. No one moved. No one knew what was happening yet. Then she turned to Amber. Her voice was calm but sharp. She said, "You should probably call Tyler." Amber's face changed instantly. Her eyes went wide. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. She looked at Matt, then back at her, then at the paper in his hand. Someone gasped. A few people whispered. Then the room exploded. Matt's mother stood up and asked what was going on. Her father shouted, asking Matt if this was true. Amber tried to speak, but her voice broke. She grabbed her bag and rushed to the door. People were yelling now, confused and angry. Matt tried to stop Amber, but she pushed past him. She didn't even look back. She ran out the front door. He followed her quickly, calling her name, but it was too late. The truth was out. She stayed where she was, standing quietly. She didn't cry. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. The DNA paper said everything. The baby wasn't Matt's. The father was Tyler. The room was still full of noise and confusion, but she felt peace inside. She had waited for this moment, and now it had come. The truth had spoken, and no one could take it back. After the dinner, Matt tried to tell people a different version of what happened. He said the DNA paper wasn't real. He said she had made it all up because she was angry, but she had saved everything. There were screenshots of his messages to Amber, pictures of money transfer, and the real DNA result. She didn't argue. She just shared the proof with both families. Her parents were shocked, but proud. They said she had handled everything with grace. Matt's parents were silent at first. Then they asked to see the messages. She sent them without saying much. Once they saw the truth, they were furious. Matt's parents had been helping him with money for years. They paid some of his bills and gave him extra money when he asked. After seeing what he had done, they told him they were done. No more support, no more help. He was on his own now. Amber also posted online a few days later. She wrote a long message explaining that the baby wasn't Matt's. She said she had been unsure who the father was but didn't expect everything to come out like this. She said she made a mistake and never wanted things to get so bad. After that, everything changed for Matt. Friends stopped calling. People at work looked at him differently. Some of them whispered behind his back. He stayed quiet and didn't show up for a while. The people who once liked him now avoided him. She didn't wait. She called a lawyer the next day and started the divorce process. She told the truth in court and showed all the proof. Since she had stayed in the house and paid most of the bills, the court gave it to her. Matt didn't even fight it. He just signed the papers and left. He packed his bags and moved out without saying goodbye. No more lies, no more fake words, just silence. She stood at the door and watched his car disappear down the road. She felt nothing, no tears, no anger, just calm. She had everything she needed, peace, freedom, and a fresh start. Matt lost everything because of his own choices. He was left with no partner, no money, and no support. She, on the other hand, walked into a new life with her head held high. She didn't feel sad. She didn't feel angry. She felt calm. Everything was quiet now, and that's how she liked it. No more lies, no more pretending. The truth was out, and it had spoken louder than anything she could ever say. She wasn't looking for people to feel sorry for her. She didn't want anyone to clap or cheer. She just wanted what was fair. And now, she had it. He tried to shame her in front of everyone by bringing another woman into her home. He thought she would break down. He thought she would cry and beg, but she didn't. Instead, she smiled. She stayed calm. She let the truth do the work. When he showed up with a pregnant girlfriend, thinking he had won, she stayed strong. When she handed him the envelope, She already knew what it would do, and it did exactly that. It ended everything. She didn't raise her voice, didn't argue, didn't even look back when he left. That was her quiet revenge, not yelling, not fighting, just truth, just proof. That's all it took. Now her house was peaceful, her heart was light. She had learned a lot. She had learned that silence is powerful, that being smart is better than being loud. That truth, when used at the right time, is the strongest weapon. People still asked her how she stayed so calm. She simply said, "I already knew," and she did. She had known for a while. She just waited for the right moment. Her life didn't end because of him. It started again, without him. She was free, clear, and stronger than ever. No more lies, no more fake love, just truth and peace. He tried to embarrass her, but he embarrassed himself. He tried to hurt her, but she healed. He wanted control, but she took it back. He lost everything. She gained herself. She didn't need to shout to be heard. She didn't need to break things to feel strong. All she needed was the truth and patience. He walked into that dinner thinking he had the upper hand, but she walked out with her head held high. He brought lies to her table. She brought the truth and left with freedom. Do you think she did the right thing by staying calm and exposing the truth the way she did? Or should she have confronted them earlier instead of waiting for the perfect moment? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoy more real-life twists like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new story.